Hello everyone! Today I'm going to tell you about Gulliver's Travel. Title: Gulliver's Travel. The author is Jonathan Swift. It was published in 1726. The genre is satire, fantasy, and adventure. What is satire? Satire is a type of poem, writing, or film that shows with humor about foolishness or bad things about other society. First, Gulliver went on a travel and saw the Lilliput. They're about 6 inches tall and they're very proud despite being small. Swift mocks humans' pride, politics, and silly arguments such as fighting over how to crack an egg. They made laws to prevent Gulliver from running away, which shows selfishness, and they provide him needs for him to live. Next people they met is when he was here, he felt like a giant, but on the other hand, when he was on his second journey, he felt like he was one of these Lilliputs because he met the Broadnecks. This voyage was the opposite of the one before. Giants. There were giants, very large people. How they see Gulliver is like a tiny pet or a toy. The satire was when Swift uses their viewpoint to make fun of European country by cruelty, war, and greed. The king is shocked by how violent and selfish Europeans are. And he uses this by when Jonathan Swift, the main character, when Gulliver tells about his story about his home country, the giants say that it's a bad habitat to live in. Also, he's the part of a circus, which shows that they aren't using their knowledge, their good, their fighting skills, their kindness to be famous. They uses how to make fun of a king, how to be fun to a king. Those weird things to be good on roll. This is how they look like. The Broadnecks. This is how they look like to him, and then they use him as a circus. Next one is the Laputans. This is a lot of theme to other movies, and one of the examples are Japanese comics called How They Sung and Who They Are. There are people who are obsessed with science, math, and music, but they're impractical and out of touch with their own brains. They have kingdom in the sky, the high place are for the royalty, the rich, but the lower places of the kingdoms, which are dirty, very smelly, those are for the poor. The king thinks about something weird the whole day, like his brain is somewhere else. Like, for example, he thinks about math, science the whole day, equations, 2 plus 2, 5 plus 5, and then when it's time for him to eat, his servant has to tap him with a sharp object, and then he'll wake up from his imagination and do his things that he needs to. The Academy of Lago. Scientists do silly experiments that never work, such as making sunlight from pickles, which will never work and never did. The satire in this one is that makes fun of science without purpose and governments that focus on something else than their environments. For example, Gulliver was mad because his peasants and all the other peoples in the country that were poor were treated really badly, and the royalties weren't even thinking about that a little. And lastly, the Houyhnhnms and the Yahoos. These are two very opposite characters in the story. The Houyhnhnms are wise, talking horses, which are acting like humans on the good side. They live peacefully and logically. In the book, it says that in their law or their dictionary, the word lie doesn't appear. Or it says something that doesn't appear in this country. Because lie or bad things in that country doesn't happen. They all live peacefully. Yahoos are dirty, wild, greedy human-like creatures. Satire. Swift compares humans to the Yahoos to show how savage people can be. The horses represent reasons and calmness, making Gulliver question if humans are truly civilized. They live by reason and have no concept of lying or greed. So in the dictionary I told you of the Houyhnhnms, there is no word called lie, greedy, or or any other things that are opposite of good. But on the other hand, on the yahoos, they don't understand. They understand very well the emotions of hate or jealousy, but the Huinams doesn't feel that out at all. They make decisions based on what is good for their community, but yahoos choose decisions which are good for themselves. The society is organized, clean, and very moral in the Huinams. But yahoos like greedy and love shiny objects such as gold. This Athena is showing that when they trapped, so Huinams trapped few of these yahoos in a cage because they went to attack them. So they put them in a little bit of soup thing, and then they gave them each 10 grams of food every day. But each yahoo, they thought, would share peacefully with 5. Peacefully, but the yahoos killed one another to gain the most amount of food. They are greedy, selfish. They look like humans, but they act like animals. But when Gulliver tells about his home country, Hoinas believe that he is a kind of a yahoo, so they kicked him away to a different land. And when he finally comes to his end of the journey, he comes back home and he starts to defend himself across all the humans in the earth because he thinks they are Huinams and he's not. He thinks that everybody else in his continent is yahoos, but he is a Huinam. So this story tells you a lot about humans and how you should act, behave, and do things like that. I hope you read Gulliver's Travel and learn the importance of teens, and I hope you can find more teens in this slide. I hope you find out how selfish and greedy humans can be sometimes, but you can fix it one by acting less like yahoos and acting more like Huinams, not acting like different characters in these stories. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Let's be a good reader. Bye!